answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range, cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why they say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
Up, everyone? Welcome to the BX Sports JEDI Network, to the Notorious G Money Hoop Show here in our new home in Opus. So thank you. Salute, G Money. Happy New Year, buddy.
Happy New Year too, man. Happy New Year, Kev. Happy New Year, everyone. Hope everyone's doing safe and doing soundly. Hope everyone's staying safe from the pandemic. And one more thing before we start the show, prayers up to Darvin DeMar Hamlin for what happened in Cincinnati. Thank God he's feeling better. Thank God he's feeling stronger. Prayers up to Darvin Hamlin and the Hamlin family.
Indeed. Salute to everyone in the chat. Mikey Mazda. For some reason, I cannot see everyone in the chat, so I really apologize if we're not ignoring you. Is that this is a new home and we're making sure that we don't see all the chat there. But I finally got it. I said here we got the 4 Train Express, Mikey Mazda, salute, and the Best of 7 Sports Talk. Salute, guys. Salute. Thank you for joining us. Awesome. So tell us what you got in store for us, Notorious G.
Well, first, we're going to have some big-time breakfast, some dinner. How about some fried deer? Because the Milwaukee Bucks have been getting fried as of late. They've lost 7 out of 10. They just came off a smackdown against the Hornets, getting stunk 138 to 109. Giannis only scored 9 points last game, which is unusual because the Greek Freak usually comes in with vengeance, but he was quiet as a mouse. The Bucks have lost 7 out of 10, including 4 in a row. In the road to the Cleveland, they lost by 8. Brooklyn, they got smacked by 18. On Christmas Day, by humbug, they got walloped by 21 in Boston. And then in Chi-Town, they had an 11-point lead later in that game, and they lost by 6 in overtime to the struggling Bulls. I mean, then they beat the T-Bulls by 9, got walloped by the Wizards by 23, beat the Wiz by 10 when the Greek Freak had a double nickel, 55 points, 10 boards, but barely surviving Toronto, winning by 3 in overtime after they were up by 21 in the fourth quarter. And like we talked about, they got destroyed by the Hornets 138 to 109 and gave up a 51 piece in the first quarter. So the problem with the Bucks, I'm seeing they don't guard the 3 very well right now. Their free throw shoot has been iffy. Giannis is going to the rack at well, but last game the Hornets kept them out of the paint. Drew Holiday's been up and down. Injuries with Drew Holiday and Chris Milton has been a problem. And Milwaukee right now is just not playing like the team that we saw 2 years ago when they won the championship. And that's the issue right there.
I'm glad you mentioned that last game there because we saw the Toronto Raptors being part of here of the BX Sports Jedi Network, Return of the Knicks podcast. A little cheap plug there, but
Mhm.
we saw the Toronto Raptors last night, and we saw the prior game between the Bucks and the Raptors. They were up, I believe, by 16 with under 2 minutes, and
Mhm.
they forced overtime. Even though
Mhm.
the Raptors did not win, Milwaukee did prevail and win, but the lead that surmountable lead there evaporated. So you're telling me they're having issues on the defensive end, which is a calling
Mhm.
card for the Milwaukee Bucks in their championship run. Timely hooping and very good defense, and they're struggling here. But it seems like the whole NBA in general, they're struggling with the defense because we're starting to see a lot of record highs in scoring throughout the league. But let's stay on the Bucks struggles here. The Bucks, we're going to see them on Monday at Madison Square Garden taking
Mhm.
on the New York Knicks. Now, is it injuries with the Bucks, or is it the minutia of an 82 game season? G Money.
For me, I say everything. Injuries, losing Chris Milton and Drew Holiday for a long time. Because you lose Chris Milton, you lose a shot creator, you lose a defender. For Drew Holiday, I mean, in and out of the lineup, you lose your best playmakers on the team. He could hit that. He had a nice underrated mid range, could stroke it from three. Remember, he was big for the Bucks in the playoff run in 2021. And also another issue with the Bucks, like also they just lack a bench. Their bench has been just been inconsistent all season. Their bench has been very inconsistent. Bobby Portis has been disappointing this year. Joe Ingles just came back from injury. So you can't expect much from him. Pat Connaughton's been streakier than Car Wax. He's been up and down. I mean, Champ. I mean, really, they don't have enough. They don't really have a much of a bench though, and that's why the Bucks are struggling right now. And they don't guard the three very, very well. Milwaukee doesn't guard the three very, very well because you see teams hitting a lot of free, especially at the wing or at the corner, and that's the problem with the Bucks. They're not doing a good job slicing, containing the perimeter shot. I mean, look at this, Kev. Against the Hornets, they allowed the Hornets to bang in 20 trifectas in Milwaukee. 20 out of 48 from the great beyond. 42% clip. That is tough if you're the Bucks, though. You're not gonna win like that. And what's also crazy is that the Bucks also hit 23s themselves in that game. But the lack of perimeter defense, the lack of timely hooping, and relying on Giannis too much. The Bucks are too predictable for me. They rely on Giannis too much to just go to the paint, and teams are gonna clog up on him. So the Bucks need to change up their offense right now and get things going because they're 18th in scoring. That's unacceptable for Milwaukee.
Let me piggyback on that because we know that they're known for having some strong wings, and that's their formula. They surrounded a lot of wing shooters and a lot of 3-point shooters with a Giannis Antetokounmpo who could penetrate, who could get to the basket, get fouls, and get whatever shot he basically wanted from the floor. And if it was like you said, when they start clogging, when they start double teaming, over committing, he knows how to. He's savvy enough to pass that ball to his wing shooters. And
Mm-hmm.
also you got a Brook Lopez. Not only he doesn't clog up the paint area, he's also a stretch, kind of you could say a stretch five.
Mm-hmm.
Um, is that formula not working, or is that just right now that they're going through a slump? Maybe remember they're about almost halfway through the season. Could it be that their perimeter shooting has been in a bit of a slump?
I say a little bit of both. One, a little bit of a slump because Milwaukee's usually one of the best three-point shooting teams in the NBA, but they've been inconsistent this year.
Oh,
And that's the issue. And Fortune
oh,
Express is right. The way the Bucks have been playing is very alarming, and this is not the Bucks we really know. This team better turn around now, because think about this. If you look at the standings right now, Milwaukee is only a half game from dropping to the 4th seed, and only a game and a half from dropping to 5th. And New York is only 3.5 back from Milwaukee from 3rd. So if the Bucks don't turn things around now, and they don't get the rhythm, this team could potentially lose home court advantage. And the Bucks to me are not moving the ball. There's not enough around the horn, not enough swing passing, and that's what's the problem with the Bucks right now.
okay. All right, so we'll see what Milwaukee there. Of course, remember prior to winning the NBA title, Budenholzer was on a hot seat. I'm not saying
Mhm.
he's on a hot seat now. No, I don't think so. I think he's safe. Who's the better alternative? That's the question. But we're starting to see Milwaukee Middleton, Holiday. I think Holiday's a solid point guard
Mhm.
defensively and all around. Do you see them tinkering with that roster in the trade going forward? Unless if you want to go right into injuries. Salute agent, our agent in the building, Agent
Salute Agent
Chicago.
Sabarga. What's cracking slacking? What's cracking slacking? I think Milwaukee's going to wait until around late January to see if they're going to make a trade, because I think that they start to turn things around. They won't make a trade, but if they keep playing horrible basketball as of late and continue to not trust themselves, they could make a trade. So I think they'll wait around late January, early February to see them make a trade, because the trade deadline is February 9th.
Let me ask you this: What is their since they're struggling? What is their biggest need right now? Is it what and why?
For me, they need rim protection off the bench because they have no rim protector off the bench at all. Salute Jason Marte. They have no rim protection off the bench. And also, the Bucks need some playmaking off the bench. They don't have any playmakers off the bench. I mean, George Hill's been bad. George Hill's a decent player, but he's been terrible. I mean, Joe Ingles, like I said, he's been hobbled all year. Wesley Matthews has been inconsistent in and out of the lineup, though. Just Jordan Noir, really. And like I said, Bobby Portis has been disappointing. Like he was good the last series, but he's been up and down this year. And Serge Ibaka, I mean, he's the grandpa. He's hobbled at this point. I think the Bucks need more rim protection off the bench and a playmaker
It'd be
off the
interesting.
bench.
Any names or anything rumored with Milwaukee there, with a possibly with any player since we're on the Bucks right now. Before we move on to major injuries around the league.
Well, I heard that they might get a Jay Crowder. I heard that the Bucks are trying to get Jay Crowder, which could help him though, because Jay Crowder could stretch the floor. Salute, man. Jay Crowder could stretch the floor. He's a good perimeter defender, and he's a pretty good passer too. So I heard really Jay Crowder um, is key. And also even Boyan Bogdanovic, Bogey. Bogey's another guy that they can use who can put the ball on the floor and can shoot the three and can hit the mid-range shot. So those two guys,
Now,
Jay Crowder and Bogey.
now let me ask you this: Are you? I know you mentioned Bogdanovich. With the will the Pistons want to make a move? I think they would, but what is
Mhm,
there enticing from the Bucks? Because they're not going to be in the their pick is not a lottery pick because they're going to be a top four, not five in the Eastern
mhm,
Conference, and overall in the NBA they probably be like around the seventh best team or sixth best team in the NBA, depending if they
mhm,
keep struggling. Just giving them the benefit of the doubt.
mhm,
What they're gonna have to add something. To they might have to overpay. Matter of fact, to try to
mhm,
get a player like a Jay Crowder right now is a player that could help a lot of teams. His intangible, the way
mhm,
he is a pain in the neck. Now he's not a number one scorer. He's out there. He could be a defensive pain in the neck, rebounding, and could stretch the floor. That's kind of be honest with you, what Milwaukee would need. Because
mhm,
you could still slide onto the compo to the five at
mhm,
times when if Lopez and go big, but do they have enough pieces to entice and want to be able to pry a player like Bogdanovich or Crowder? I don't think they have enough um, to get a Crowder, in my opinion.
mhm, mhm. I can see that. I can see that. Well, the best trade you could do is Grayson Allen, maybe George Hill, maybe another role player and some picks to and a picker one or two to get Jay Crowder or Bogey. That's the best bet for the Bucks.
But
Because they're not going to trade Drew Holiday. They're not going to trade Smithson. Yeah.
no, let me be a little bit of a contrarian, just a minor. Allen doesn't fit the Suns. They have a lot of the same type of Grayson Allen type of players, with Payne and company on wing players that they're very good at. They're going to need, to be honest with you, they might want some rim protection for the Phoenix Suns because I know the Phoenix
Hmm.
Suns, thanks to our one of our guys, that he's a Phoenix Sun that comes in our chat. His name is Eli, so I wanted to give him a shout out. And I do remember everyone that comes. Majority, 90% of the people that come in our chat, I always remember everyone. And I know Eli is a Suns fan, but
Hmm.
nevertheless, he's frustrated with the way Aiden's been playing. A little too soft.
Agreed.
Would like to get a backup center. Now, will Milwaukee willing to part back one of their backup center? There, can you pull up real quick this Milwaukee roster? Who is a backup center? Because I'm pretty sure the kid is really pretty decent. Who comes in for after Brooke Lopez when he's injured?
Right. The Bucks backup center. If you look at Milwaukee's um roster, if you look at their backup center, their backup center to back up Brooke Lopez. I mean, they don't really have that much of a backup center, to be honest. They really don't. I mean,
Can
if
you
you want
name
to,
them for me?
well,
Do you
let's
have
see.
the
The
do you have the
backups,
roster list? Do you have the list
yeah,
there?
I have the roster. I have the roster.
Okay.
I have the roster. They have it's the Greek Freak bro. It's the Antetokounmpo brothers, Bo Champ, Javon Carter, Pat Connaughton, AJ Green, George Hill, Joe Holiday, Serge Ibaka, who's a forward, Joe Ingles,
Yeah.
Brooke Lopez, who's a center, Sandro Malevsky, Wesley Matthews, Chris
Mm.
Middleton, Jordan Noah, and Bobby Portis. They don't really have a true backup
No,
center.
they don't have a true backup center. No, because that's why they slide down to the Kumpo there. So they're kind of a pickle if they want to get front court pressure,
Mm-hmm.
front court help there. And I don't know if Phoenix. I don't think Phoenix will be a partner for Crowder in that Crowder street space. Crowder will fit the Bucks, but I don't think the Bucks have anything that the Suns want or need or desire. Another,
That's
I'll be honest with you, a player where the Milwaukee, where excuse me, not to change a little subject from the Bucks, but we were talking
mhm.
about the Phoenix Suns and our friend Eli. I think your Phoenix Suns as well could really use it if they're willing to trade and they're willing to move because we heard a lot of talks that Pakam Siakam will be a nice addition in
Pascal
Phoenix.
Siakam, yeah, yeah, he would be
Will be a
nice though.
nice
I,
addition.
because he can help the Suns with playmaking, finishing at the rim. He can stretch the floor. I know he didn't play great versus New York last game, but this is the same guy that's averaging 20 plus this year, had a 52 piece in MSG. I mean, he is a baller though.
Exactly.
He can hit the mid range, can shoot the three. He can run the floor. He's an underrated player to have on your team, and he's a good rebounder too.
Yeah, so we were talking about that. I know we had everything put up there in a schedule the way we were going to talk, but we were already into the talking trades. Let me ask this there. Let's go back, stay back on course here with the injuries. What injuries are really hampering teams around the league here?
Oh, the Phoenix Suns. I mean, losing Devin Booker for 11 games. He's gonna be out for a month because of a groin injury. That's big. I mean, Chris Paul just got hurt last night though. He's day to day. We don't know when he's coming back. I mean, you have Cameron Payne. Man, he's been a lot of pain. No pun intended though. Out for 2 weeks because of foot injury though, foot sprain. Remember, Cam Johnson has been out virtually almost all season. I mean, this Suns team's been ravaged by injuries all year. I mean, during a 5 game slide. Salute LB. What's cracking, slacking, man? Salute LB. The Suns are in a quagmire at this point because of injuries, because of bad losses. And the thing about this, Jedi, the last 3 games, Phoenix has not even cracked the century mark. This is the first time in the Chris Paul era that the Phoenix Suns have not even cracked the century mark. That is impossible. I mean, what scored 83 against New York, 88 against Cleveland, and then just 96 last night against Miami. So really, because of Jay Crowder being gone, Devin Booker being gone because of the groin, Cameron Payne with the foot sprain, and etc. And LB is right. Monty Williams is on the hot seat. He is because the players are not
Okay.
listening to the guy. If the Suns,
Wow.
I want to keep Monty. I would personally, but if the Suns continue if the Suns continue to set, Monty could be gone though because DeAndre Ayton doesn't listen to the guy. No one, they're not really respecting Monty right now.
He was coach of the but debatable coach of the year.
2 years ago,
The way and wow, I'm actually surprised. Of course, I don't follow this Phoenix Suns. Do stick with the Knicks. So had it, but like yeah, we have a new ownership. Maybe the new ownership wants to have his own imprint, bring in another head coach, where and whatever the case will be. I could see that, but man, so be honest with. I'm gonna make a statement here. It looks like the Phoenix Suns window to win an NBA title. I hate to say it, G Money, but I think it's close.
it looks close right now. I agree. It looks close right now because they don't have playmaking off the bench. I mean, Chris Paul's still kind of old this season. He had a big game versus the Cavs, but he's old this season. DeAndre Ayton doesn't have the heart. He has talent, but he lacks this. He lacks passion sometimes. And the problem I have with this Phoenix Suns team, they're not playing with trust. They're not moving the ball. They're not sharing the ball like they did. Mikal Bridges has been inconsistent all year. He had a bad game versus the Heat last night. They just don't have enough, man, for them to win the championship. And with Booker being gone and him being injury prone, Cam Johnson being injury prone, Jay Crowder, he's not gonna be. I think Jay Crowder's gone. I don't think this team's gonna
Yeah,
break through. Their best chance was two
we
years ago.
Do you think there'll be a fire sale this season, or you think it'll be in the off season where they'll do a fire sale with the Phoenix Suns? I mean, this is the year to try to get as many draft pick as possible, especially you Wanyamba out there, the big target that everybody wants to try to get. But
Victor
it'd
Wembanyama,
be
yeah.
interesting. Victor Wanyamba.
Right, but I don't think the Suns gonna make. I don't see Phoenix making trades this deadline. I just think they'll keep this roster until like the off season. I think the off season will start making some moves. Because look,
What
DeAndre Ayton has a lot of talent, but he lacks heart, man, and he's kind of injury prone himself sometimes.
Let me ask you, what position do Phoenix Suns stand as we speak here on the 7th of January in the
The
Western Conference?
the Phoenix Suns are the eighth seed in the Western Conference. In fact, they're tied for nine, and they're only a
So
half game from dropping 10.
they could actually go into full tank mode if they like. Trade some players, get some picks back here. They have some good wing uh, spread guys that could hit the three ball, and,
Mhm.
and they have an opportunity here to move that around. But it'll be interesting if they do decide to sell some of their pieces in the summertime. It's going to be very interesting with Devin Booker, a CAA client, and with
Mhm.
all the speculations and minutia when it comes to the CAA clients
Mhm.
for being moved here. We all know who's a team president of a CAA team, so it'll be an interesting there going forward. But I don't think that's going to happen. But just
Mhm.
in case, the rumors will be out there if Phoenix becomes sellers. So it'll be
Very
interesting to see
possible.
that going forward.
Very
Okay, so
possible.
another team ravaged by injuries right now. That is right now just hampering their team. I know Agent Superargo said about the Boston Celtics, but give me another team. We'll talk about Boston in a second. Any other team that you had on your list that you wanted to bring up with the injury bug that is
I'm
affecting
going
them?
to say the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid in and out of the lineup, though. They got bullied, no pun intended, by the Bulls last night when Zach LaVine tormented them with 41 points and 11 trifectas. And former Sixer Nick Vucevic, man, he yo-yoed the Sixers with a triple double of 19, 18, and 10. Tyrese Maxey being hobbled all year. Joel Embiid, being hobbled on. Even James Harden. Don't forget, early in the season, missed 14 games because of the foot. So that's a tough loss there for the Sixers. Embiid, Harden's back. But I'm saying that with Embiid being howled and Max being in and out of alignment, that's the thing with Philly there. I know Philadelphia right now is number 5, but they should be better. It's kind of disappointing for the Sixers. You could be a top 4 seed with the talent you have with Maxey, Niang, Harden, Harrell, who's been awful this year. Harrell, PJ Tucker, excuse me, Melton. They should be a better team than what they are, though. So yeah, so the Sixers have been kind of spotty because of inconsistent depth and also injuries.
Let me see, but I know a lot of people were speculating and saying especially if they don't. I think if the 76ers do not get out of the second round, if they make it to the second round, don't get and if they get knocked off in the first round, maybe 6, 7. If they go to the second round and lose, and let's say 6 instead of 7, I could see a change in head coach.
Agreed.
I see.
Very
I
possible.
love Doc Rivers, a friend of the family of my wife, family. We know them for whatever the case is with Doc Rivers, but Coach Rivers has have not lived up to par.
It's true.
With the 76ers, with the expectation. Of course, you could blame whatever it is, with all that case there. And if the case is Monty Williams is out in Phoenix, I could see Monty Williams being the next 76ers head coach. I know we have a long time to talk about that in the future for the future reference. He's not even fired yet for peace sakes. Neither one of the players. I'm not advocating for any of these coaches to lose their jobs, but I
Right.
could see them and having that, of course, that stigma that Coach Rivers has of choking away 3-0 leads or large leads in
3-1
the
leads, yeah.
playoffs. Yeah, so
3-1 leads,
it's
yeah.
it's a tough one there. I could do. Let me ask you this: when during the struggles and the 76ers, I think they plateau here. They need probably gonna have to drop one of these players. I could see a Tobias Harris being moved.
I agree. I agree. I can see Tobias Harris being moved. Yeah, I can see Harris being moved, and who knows? They could trade a guy like Daniel House because Daniel House hasn't done much for them. I mean, maybe Paul Reed
Another
could be gone.
another player that has value is either Maxi or Shake Milton. Where you could get something for. I know you don't want to deplete your bench, but sometimes you got to give something to receive something in return. And you put a uh, you can move them. You can move them around. Just hypothetically, I got to make sure before we even make trades, we got to make sure that the money matches and the
Yeah.
team has availability in their cap. So just to throw out names sometimes doesn't work because got to make sure the money matches always.
Right.
Going
Right.
forward, and if their money matches, you could see a Tobias Harris along with a Shake Milton, who's someone who needs a power forward and another shooting guard or something like that is missing that, and teams out there we can imagine. It'll be hard to see them trade within the East, but you never know. I think Philadelphia's need to do something to shake that team up. They need a player like in that is just defensive minded, but who could hit shot. If they need and they had him in a Danny Green, but they need a younger. They need a San Antonio Spurs Danny Green on that team that
Yeah. Agree.
he's not known for being a number. You don't have to have the ball in his hands, but when the other guys Embiid and Harden ain't cooking or they're being having an off game, they could count on him to hit a clutch situational
Right.
three or
Right.
come off the bench and hit. That's what they're missing for the
Yeah. They don't have that.
76ers, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. And I agree. And then speaking of another team that's been hobbled by injuries, I even say the Miami Heat. I mean, the Miami Heat have not been really been healthy either. Duncan Robinson's gonna be out for a month because of a finger. I mean, Jimmy Butler's missed a gunk of games. So has Tyler. So has Bam Adebayo. Like Miami hasn't been full strength on neither. And Miami has played well on the road as of late. They won 8 of the last 10 road games. I did start off a little slow, but the Heat have just been too inconsistent. They're one of the worst offensive teams in the NBA. Their 3-point shooting has gone down. Their bench is, other than Oladipo, they don't really have much of a bench like that. And, Miami's kind of been a little disappointing for me. I mean, if you look at what the Heat are on now, they're number 8 in the Eastern Conference. They were the 1 seed last year. Like, they were a 3 ball away from potentially making the NBA Finals last year. So the Heat have kind of been a disappointment myself, really because Jimmy Butler being in and out of the lineup. Duncan Robinson could be out for a month because of a finger. And that's the problem there. And even Tyler Hero didn't even play last night.
But here's the problem. Here's the thing about Miami, and I gotta give them credit. They're well coached.
That's true.
They're extremely well coached. They have a well organization there with Raleigh, Spoelstra, the way they evaluate players, and wouldn't be surprised that they'll make the necessary moves or changes that may not make to us might be an eyebrow raise, but they know how to bring the right players to fit that model. If they could hover around that 8-7 around before the trading deadline, they're gonna make moves. It might not be the sexiest, but for them, it's gonna improve their ball club. I see Miami's gonna improve their ball club. Now, would they be NBA championship moves? Only we don't know, but they're gonna do something to improve their club. How far they're taking it is on their coaching and what kind of moves is available out there for Miami. So I never discredit or count Miami out in not making the playoffs or going totally in the out in the red, in the negative,
Right.
out of the postseason, because they're going to make some kind of minor moves or moves there going forward. Don't be surprised if like you said, Phoenix is going to be an important
Hmm.
team to watch for a fire sale, because if they're willing to say wave the white flag, a Chris Paul, I know, and I got to see the money. Apologize that I did not do I didn't anticipate coming on this show today this afternoon with G Money. I would have just came up with all the salaries to make sure money talks, money matches before we start throwing hypothetical trades out where money don't match up and
Well,
there is
Chris
no
Paul is
room or
making
vice
28
versa.
million this year. Chris Paul is making
It's a
28 million this year.
it's a really good contract, $28 million. And can you see me what can you tell me what Tobias Harris is making? I don't know if Phoenix will want a Tobias Harris, but you could swing moves there.
Right, right, right. Well, Tobias,
Thank you, Jason. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.
salute, Jason, salute. Well, if you look at Tobias Harris, he's making 38 million this year. That's a lot.
Yeah, the money there's a $10 million discrepancy there. There's a big difference between money there. Uh, the
Mhm.
point is, $20 million. Chris Paul's salary could be moved if he moves
Mhm.
over. Does he have an escalating clause there or trading
I
kicker?
don't
See,
think
those are the
so.
type of things. that's the type of things, guys. That again, I apologize for not having there available. It wasn't anticipating. I would have usually gotten all that situation there. But if he does get traded, that's a possible team to help Miami Heat come out to a
Hmm.
team that's where you put now Chris Paul, Bam Adebayo, Oladipo off the bench.
Hmm.
You got Tyler Hero and company. That's a pretty decent formidable team there. You're not asking Chris Paul to do much and especially the offensive side, but he's a championship winning player. That's why I asked Tobias Harris, because he fits the 76ers, who the 76ers with Harden, Paul again, I know again, but Embiid, you have a triangle now that actually could work. And in the moments, I know Chris Paul doesn't get a lot of stigma of not getting to the big one or getting hurt also, but that's the timeline that he fits.
Hmm.
Um,
I
G
agree.
Money.
I agree. And Chris Paul, I don't think the Suns will trade CP3, but I won't rule it out though because we've seen trades that we didn't expect would happen. So I don't think the Suns would trade CP3, but if Phoenix continues to go to the wayside, continues to set, CP3 might be gone to another contender though. Might be gone to a contender like Philly or Miami because Miami does need a point guard. I mean, Kyle Lowry is good; he's a good defender, but this is an old Kyle Lowry. This isn't Lowry with Toronto. He's aging at this point. So yeah, and if you're Philly, other than James Harden, you don't really have much playmaking though. So yeah,
Boy, you Knick fans, aren't you glad that you didn't got? I know I and I remember and I was. You could look at my tapes. I did not want no Kyle Lowry. I said he wasn't going to keep up with the young guards in the East.
it's
I'm
true.
so thankful that everybody was getting upset. Leon Rose is asleep. Didn't get Kyle Lowry. I was like, no, 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 don't get Kyle Lowry. But I do say I was wrong with I wanted Alonzo Ball. I do say that. I'm gonna admit it. From the ones that I didn't want, I'm gonna admit my faults too. I'm glad that
Mhm.
neither one Jalen Brunson's working. Just not to take away from, but Kyle Lowry. Glad thing we dodged that bullet big time because he's an aging star. At least with Lonzo Ball, he was still young, even but that's for another time for another debate. G Money, another team that you see with injuries right now that is so far derailing their season.
I even think the Atlanta Hawks. I even think Atlanta's kind of been banged up. I mean, Trae Young missing some games here and there. DeJounte Murray was missing games. Remember, he had that injury against the Knicks when
Yes.
when he hurt his ankle. He missed some games, and even Clint Capella, Bogey. They just been not been healthy at all this year. So I mean, even look at last night. They got smoked by the Lakers because the Lakers were going to the rack at well. So the Hawks have kind of been uber disappointed. I mean, what? They're 10th in the Eastern Conference. They're tied with the Bulls. They should at least be a top 16. So yeah, so I think the Atlanta Hawks
With
has been hampered with the injuries. Yeah.
with the Hawks, there was a report McMillan might just step down from, and they might be looking for a head coach pretty soon. There's a lot of talks they're not. It's not kind of working with Devontae Murray and Trey Young. Trey. Since that day that Trey Young came to Madison Square Garden with the Broadway, I own Broadway sneakers. I think they're 5-10. So they've been struggling, swept by the Lakers.
Which is
Lakers were
embarrassing.
trailing. Lakers were trailing in that game by over 25 points. When I know that I
Yeah,
think
the
they got
Lakers were
fined
up by
25.
20. The Lakers were up by 26. The Lakers were up by 26 last night, and then the Hawks
No,
tried to.
not last night. Not last night. The game the game in Atlanta, the
In
first
Atlanta,
game,
they were
they
down
were
15. They were
trailing
down 15. They were
by
down 15.
15,
Yeah.
and they stormed back and they won that game. The Lakers did on the
Mm-hmm.
road. That's easy. That's different when you're at home and you come down from that deficit. But when you're on the road, especially across the country, to the Hawks, there. I believe that was the final game of their road trip for the Lakers, and they came back to win. It says a lot about the Hawks.
Uh, right. And that was also on LeBron's birthday, by the way. That was also on LeBron's birthday, by the way. That was also on LeBron's birthday. We had 47 that night when he just ate up Atlanta that night, and that wasn't the final road trip game because the Lakers also
Okay.
won at Charlotte the following day. But if you look at the Hawks, I mean, Atlanta's kind of just been. Look at the losses. They got smoked by the Pacers by 15. Lost a heartbreaking loss to the Nets by 1. Lost to the Lakers by 9. In fact, lost to them twice. Lost to the Warriors in double overtime in a game that they had a 9-point lead late in that game. And then Kevon Looney had the tip in. And Klay Thompson had delicious fried heart with mashed potatoes with 54 points and 10 trifectas in that game. And even against the Kings, Stackers barely sneaked past that game, only won by 3. Atlanta's just been very, very inconsistent. I mean, even against the Bulls December 21st, they lost by 2 points on an Ayu Dosumu game-winning layup.
Yeah, and it's weird because with those kind of guards that they have, Murray or and Trey Young, it's in the wings that they have. They shouldn't be losing these games down the stretch, but it is what it is. That's their Hawks with their struggles there. Be interesting to see what a lot of teams going to have some decisions to make coming trade deadline if they're going to go for it. They're not going to go for it. It's just the minutia of a long season here as we
Mhm.
move on from the Hawks. Let's talk about as we got a few more minutes here. With the Golden State Warriors, what is? Tell me your thoughts. I know that that's what came up on your show sheets. Let's talk about the Golden State Warriors, the defending world champions.
The Warriors are streakier. The Warriors have been streakier than soap. Think about this. They're the 6th seed in the Western Conference. They started off the season, if you look at Golden State, right? The Warriors started off the season 15-18. They were terrible to start the season. Really because they've been atrocity on the road. They're 3-16 on the road. That's the worst road record in the NBA. That is embarrassing. They're great at home. They're 17-3. Even though they came off a bad loss to the Pistons when Sadiq Bey hit the 9-1 shot 3-pointer at the buzzer. The Warriors were 17-2 at the Chase Center until they lost to the Pistons. My problem with Golden State's really lack of consistency. They'll always dig themselves these holes and have to keep coming back and keep coming back. They were down double digits to Utah. Like I said, they were down 9 points late to Atlanta. They were down 11 they were down 11 to Portland to keep coming back. I mean, yeah, the Warriors are a good comfort behind team as far as being at home, but you don't want to keep doing that if you're Golden State because if you're the Warriors, remember, you have a target behind your back now. Teams are on your head. And remember, Steph Curry, we don't know when he's coming back. I heard he might come back next Friday against the Spurs, but remember, he's reevaluated today. We don't know for sure if he's going to come back next week. Because remember, he had that shoulder injury he had against the Pacers December 14th. So I remember Wiggins has been out really because of an illness, because of Adonis injuries and all that. James Wiseman has been in and out of the lineup, and that's the problem there. And even Iggy's going to come back today against Orlando, against the Magic. So that's the thing there. That's my issue with the Warriors. They're great at home, but they're horrible on the road, and sometimes they play down to the competition. They got swept by the Pistons, which is embarrassing. Lost to the Magic, lost to the Hornets. They barely got past the Hornets last time. They lost twice to the Suns. They barely beat the Rockets in Houston. I mean, the Warriors to me are just not really played up to expectations to this point.
Currently, what rank they sit in the Western Conference right now?
They're the 6th seed right now.
6.
Yeah.
So they're treading water here. I know they're the defending champions. Remember, they had a long season. They're treading water despite them being atrocious on the road. They're
Mm-hmm.
a 6th seed right now. Maybe come second half when it starts getting healthier and becoming a little bit more together, they start gelling at the right time at the end of the
And
season
they have been
into a
joining us of
playoff
late.
run.
They have been joining us of late. They
So
had won 6 straight
but
home games until
Oh, even if
before.
they win the 6th home game, they're not fully healthy as a whole. So
That's true.
they're not really fully gelled here. It's the same thing. I hate to again. This is a NBA talk, but I want to bring in interject the Knicks here. The Knicks they won 8 in a row. Of course, they lost 5, but now they're in a bit of a winning streak. They're not whole either. They haven't gelled as a complete team yet because they haven't
Mm-hmm.
played together as a complete. So that's even more room for improvement. Now, bring
Mm-hmm.
it back to the Golden State Warriors. They're not altogether healthy, and
Mm-hmm.
if they get healthy and go into the post and gel at the right time in the postseason, and they are the defending world champions, and they are uber talented when top of the
Mm-hmm.
world with Curry, Thompson, even Draymond. We know the names because they just won a world champion. They are extremely dangerous in the
Mm-hmm.
Western Conference that is loaded where teams are going to be knocking each other out, ping pong in brutal series. And if they're healthy and just annihilate, you could see them easily from a 5 seed go all the way to the NBA Finals. It wouldn't surprise me.
That is very possible. And another thing too we have to consider: Jordan Poole. After the horrible start, he's been stepping up as a Jordan Poole's starting to turn things around. Even Anthony Lamb off the bench, he's giving him some good minutes. So Ty Jerome, he's going to good minutes. Dante DiVincenzo, he's playing well. I mean, even Kevon Looney, an Iron Man, he's playing well. So after the Warriors started slow, they have started to turn things around a little bit, starting to play a little bit better though. Which you gotta give them that though. So yeah, so like I said, they had won what 5 straight home games, and now they're starting to turn things around a little bit though. And that's the thing there. So now they're starting to surge at the right time. I mean, look, they're only a game behind Sacramento for fifth, and 2 games back of Dallas for fourth. And Dallas got mollywopped by Boston on Thursday. So if you're Golden State, just keep beating the teams you're supposed to beat. Hope you get healthy and just keep treading water, you know? And they did a good job without Steph Curry. Tread 6-7 without Steph. That's not great, but they started off 1-6 without Steph Curry. So they're treading water without, despite Steph Curry, Andrew Wiggins being hobbled.
They just gotta win in the regular season. They just gotta win a couple games on the road, that statement games.
Mm-hmm.
Just be careful if they go out there and win a couple statement games on the road in the regular season right now. First, they don't have to go on. They don't have to have a. We all know they're not gonna have a good road record. But if they get
Mm-hmm.
you a couple statement games in the regular season, they know how to win in the postseason anywhere. They proved it.
Again,
So they're a
yeah.
dangerous team going forward. Another team that you mentioned, but we'll have a few more minutes here before we wrap up. Boston Celtics. I know our agent Super Argo mentioned in the chat that they're sliding a little bit. What's going on with Boston?
To me, my issue with Boston, they started. They had been sliding for a stretch, but now they're starting to. They have been sliding though as of late because they lost a baker's dozen to the Nuggets. They gave a buck 50 to the Thunder without SGA. My issue with Boston, sometimes they have talent, but one, the loss of Emma Udoka does matter because you lose a coach that they respected and honored, a guy that who was a good locker room guy at the time, great defensive coach, was great ball movement, and also my issue with Boston, their bench has been kind of inconsistent for me. I mean, Hauser, he can shoot, but he can be up and down. I mean, if you look at the Celtics bench, they don't really have that much depth off the bench. I mean, you have Justin Jackson, really, McFondue, really, Luke Cornett hasn't given you much. Payne Pritchard, he's been so this year. I mean, Grant Williams has been fine. He can shoot a three, great defender. He's been fine. And also, Grant Williams and Al Horford being injured does play a factor into why Boston's been kind of up and down. I mean, they're the number one seed in the East, but that's slid off as of late, yeah.
Okay, all right. So they look always. There's always room for improvement for the Boston
And
Celtics. I mean,
Gallinari
they're
torn
number.
his ACL is big too.
Who torn his shell? Is ACL?
Danilo Gallinari.
Oh
It
wow.
was in overseas, yeah.
Oh wow, that's a major blow because he was there to help stretch the floor for them there. That's
Mm-hmm.
a major blow for Boston. Any other than final South? I wanted to one more team before we go on our final topic was any other team out here that you're seeing stock up. Keep an eye out. They're starting to trend in the right direction. Things are going well for them. They don't have much of the injury bug. Oh, and they're playing well.
For me, the Indiana Pacers. No one's talking about how good this team has been all year. The Indiana Pacers. I mean, dude, they won 25 games last year. They already have 22 wins right now. And look at some of their wins. Indians have some very good wins. They beat Miami. I mean, they also beat Brooklyn on the road. I mean, they beat New Orleans. They beat Denver. I'm sorry, they haven't beaten Denver. Excuse me, they lost to Denver, but they've had some very good wins. Toronto. I mean, in fact, they've had to beat Brooklyn twice. I mean, also they won at Golden State despite they didn't have even Halliburton and Turner that day. I mean, they won at Beantown 4 days before Christmas, December 21st. I mean, Indiana, they beat Cleveland. I mean, they just beat Portland last night. They went on a 9-0 run to beat the Blazers after the game was tied. The Pacers to me should be a team we should watch out for. They were this close being the Sixers, but they lost by 3 in overtime. The Pacers had won 5 out of the last 6 games, and they got the Hornets coming up. They got the Knicks. So if you're the Pacers, if you keep trending in the right direction, they have a good chance to make the playoffs.
Right, they're trending the right way. You could see Carlisle coaching ability there. Change that around. Also, there you see the young players playing Halliburton, Duarte,
Mm-hmm.
so forth. There, it'd be interesting to see if there will a lot of speculations with the Miles Turner move, but it will. But if what break what why change or try to fix something that's not broken unless if they think they could upgrade with Miles Turner, who has not been the Miles Turner that we known for past few years, but it could be the coach, the style, and what is the other guy stepping up that they're not going
Mhm.
to require Miles Turner to have that input there. Just
Right.
saying.
That is true. That is true. And another guys who are playing well, you have James Johnson, who's a good veteran leader for them. You have Jalen Smith, who's been balling. Ben Matherin, dog, he's strong like an us. Ben Matherin, rookie of the year candidate. He's been amazing. Can finish, can shoot the three. Good defender. You also have, uh, you have Daniel Tice playing well. Halliburton should be an all star. If Tyrese Halliburton does not make an all star team, it's a crime. Tyrese Halliburton's been amazing, leading the NBA in assists. I mean, underrated shooter, great passer. He's been phenomenal. And Rick Carlisle, assuming the Pacers keep this up, he should be in the running of Coach of the Year. I'm not saying he's the Coach of the Year, but I'm saying he should be in the running of Coach of the Year
Yeah.
if Indiana keeps this up.
He's having a good season. They're having a good season. They thought they were going to be tanking, selling off pieces, and they've been very, like you said, very surprising team there going forward there. And let's give me some one more team for is the Brooklyn Nets. I know I'm a Knicks fan. We're Knicks. Most of this folks here are Knicks fans. We got to give credit for the Brooklyn Nets winning 12 in a row there. Um, it's Jacques Vaughn. I'm telling you, whatever Jacques Vaughn is an underrated head coach. He did well when he was an interim in Orlando,
Mm-hmm.
and he is a good
Mm-hmm.
coach. He's just getting. I'm glad he's getting a good
Right.
opportunity
Right.
with not a lot of expectations. They took that interim and made him a head coach now,
Mm-hmm.
and good kudos for him for Jacques Vaughn and of course we're a Knicks fan. We don't want the Nets to do well, but
Me, I
for
don't
Jacques
mind. They
Vaughn,
do what they do. I don't
you know
mind.
what? Thumbs up for him. He's just a good coach.
He's a very good coach. I mean, they're 24-8 under Jock Vaughn, and I know the 12-game winning streak got snapped by the Bulls. They got bullied in Chicago, but look at their 12-win streak at the time. I mean, they beat Charlotte, Atlanta, Indy, Washington, Toronto, Detroit, Golden State by 30, Milwaukee, Cleveland, Atlanta, Charlotte, San Antonio. They've had some good wins. I mean, they just won in New Orleans. I know they didn't have Zion and Ingram, but they were down double digits and came back in New Orleans, though. I mean, Brooklyn's played great. They're ball moving. And don't forget, they're top 10 in defense during the stretch, and they're one of the top three offensive teams during the stretch too, and they've been amazing. And like what Jose Malo says, the players respect and honored and listen to Jock Vaughn because he preaches defense, ball movement, and he's done a great job. Kevin Durant's played like an MVP. Kyrie Irving, after the whole situation with the anti-Semitic hullabaloo, his mind has just been focused on basketball as of late. Even their bench has played great. Watanabe, T.J. Warren, Emmitt Sumner's been balling. Nick Claxton's rejecting everything on the sun, playing with athleticism. Even Ben Simmons has played well himself, playing great defense, offensive rebounding, moving the ball. Joe Harris is stroking from three. Seth Curry. Brooklyn's just playing just absolutely dynamite basketball. And they
Yeah.
and they're number 2 in the Eastern Conference. If they keep this up, they're gonna be a team to be reckoned with come playoff time, man.
Now, I don't want to sound like oh, you're a Knicks fan. That's why you're throwing cold water. But a lot of those teams that you mentioned there are struggling teams, and in those games when they go on the court, Brooklyn has the two best players in the in most of those 90% of those teams in that 12-game winning streak. They have the two best players, dominant.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's why it shows there. They also got some fortunate situation when they played Golden State. No Curry, there was a injury bug there.
Mm-hmm.
They Pelicans. There was no Zion. There was
Ingram.
no Ingram.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't apologize when players are hurt when you get the victory. I say it with the Knicks all the time. No one apologized when they were beating up on the Knicks when we didn't have our players when we were hurt, or
Mm-hmm.
vice versa when the Knicks win and you win as a win is a win is a win at the end of the day. But they have been taking advantage of teams' misfortune or underlining of their schedule, which was supposed to.
Yeah,
Good
they
teams
also played
are
Atlanta
supposed
without
to do that.
Trae Young too. Yeah, that's true.
Right. But good teams are supposed to do that. You go out there and
Mm-hmm.
you allow annihilate teams if they're missing. You go out there and win. You don't apologize for a victory. Still going to look like a win in July when we talk about it again. A 12-game win. No one's going to remember those details. Though, but they are.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to be don't. I got to see more. You could be in fool's gold when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets. So you got to be careful.
Right. They had a 12-game streak, was the longest since the early 2000s for the Nets, and like I said, got recently snapped by the Bulls until they bounced back against the Pelicans. And what you got to level what Brooklyn's doing. They're playing great defense as far as closing out on shooters. Playing without fouling. And Jose Melo, Oladipo had an awesome game yesterday. He looked spry. He was posterizing the rim. His three ball was falling. I mean, Oladipo was absolutely flambeing the Suns. I mean, we look at Victor Oladipo. I mean, at what, 26 points, which is a season high. I mean, he was just phenomenal. 7 to 10 from the field, hitting mid range shots, threes, breaking through the teeth of D, making circuit shots. It hit 8 out of 10 at the line. He's been phenomenal. He has just absolutely been phenomenal. And this season's been fun to this point. Surprise teams galore like Sacramento. No one's talking about how good they've been all year. They're top five in the West. Excuse me. They won 30 games last year. They already have 20 wins now. Halliburton, Fox, Sabonis, arguably all stars this year. Mike Brown's done a great job. Good defensive coach of the year candidate. Yeah, man, this season's been fun.
Yeah, it's been there. Let's get the final topic here. But before we give you that final topic, we want to also give kudos to Tom Thibodeau, who won his 100th game as a New York Knicks head coach yesterday for the Knickerbockers.
Yes.
Good job there for Tom Thibodeau. We're not going to make it Knicks centric because we that's what we have the return of the Knicks for. We're talking NBA hoops here. But the final subject I wanted to ask you, G Money,
Mm-hmm.
with the NBA scoring so up and a lot of players hitting a lot of high milestones, 40 plus points, 50. We saw a
Mm-hmm.
70-point game from Donovan Mitchell. We saw 61 from Luka Doncic. We saw 44 points. We saw 52 earlier from Possum Siakam at Madison Square Garden.
Mm-hmm.
What is your thoughts? Why scoring is so high and why are players having these high individual scoring performances?
One, I think players today are more skilled offensively compared to back then as far as creating their own shot. Two, I think it's also the rule changes. You can't hand check anymore. You can't hand check. You gotta play straight man defense. So I think that plays the players. Players are more skilled offensively as far as creating their own shot, and also the rule changes.
Now, your opinion, do you like the fact that these guys are abolishing these scoring criteria and reaching these milestones, or would you like the league to make a certain play click? Because I know Chef Dan mentioned it was true back in the early 80s Showtime Lakers, the scoring was this high up there, but I didn't think I remembered individuals scoring high number of points. It was more of a
Right.
collective unit, as a team,
Right.
balanced
Seven
scoring.
players
But
averaging 30 points per game.
yes, that's a lot. That's awfully a lot. Do you think the hand check, maybe extending the 3 point line further over more, or are we okay where it is? Don't, if it's not broken, don't fix.
Personally, for me, I want a mix, offense and defense. I want a little bit of a mix. I don't mind the scoring, but I want a little bit of defense, though. I want a little bit of physicality, though. That's what I want. I want players to just play, to not. Yes, you don't want anyone to get hurt and kick people in the ding dongs and all that. However, I just want a little bit of defense in there too. So yeah,
I wouldn't mind the hand checking. Allow them to extend
yeah.
the full hand. If players are more stronger, like they mentioned, and also there's a way of combating when they put if you got a player who extend his arm fully, you could always roll
Mhm.
around them. Jordan used to do. Isaiah Thomas was a master at that. You and allow them to extend their full arms. I think that would help. It's not really play claiming. It's not. I don't see the hurting of it. You're pushing. If you're strong forearms, you have a strong push. You could keep them out a little more further and maybe it'll want them to drive more to the basket, spin and drive instead of just jump rising and hitting the three ball there. I do like the rule that they protect the shooter from coming down, not coming down on no one's foot. I like that.
Mhm.
There's a
I
lot
like
of
that
good
too.
stuff there. There's a lot of good stuff in the current rules, yes, and but I would like them just to add that handshake back, the hand check, allow them to hand check a little more, and the officiating has to be consistent, not just all around
Yeah, I agree.
what's a
Efficiency is
foul, what's
bad.
not a foul. That the officiating is a little bit terrible, a little bit atrocious. We're like that going forward. I know it's a human error game, and I know that, but just got to be something there with that and help be held accountable a little more to the
Hmm.
fire. Hey, you got to call. Because especially I mentioned a lot of times, especially when you're in partner with FanDuel,
Hmm.
Caesar Sportsbook, when you're with the betting sites as your sponsor, you gotta keep it a little clean with the officiating. And if you're going, personally, I would love them to give two challenges, one in the first half, one in the second half,
Agreed.
and you could use it
Agreed.
because sometimes there's a lot of mistakes.
Right. Or for me, I'd rather have a challenge per quarter. How about that? A challenge per quarter. If you win your challenge,
That
you keep that challenge for the same quarter. If you lose it, obviously you don't get it back. So I would love a challenge per quarter and even overtime too.
Right, because they're like, oh, it makes the game long, it makes the game long. But let me tell you this: those NBA games go fast. They're not
Mhm.
even if you do a little bit of even if you do a challenge on a replay and they challenge it, they'll do it quick enough where the game is so quick pace. Even if they take 5 minutes to look for a challenge to get the call right, once they
Mhm.
return back to action, it's going to be fast paced. It's going to go. It's going to make the game. The NBA game, no matter how hard you want, unless if
Mhm.
you know what makes the game slow, whistles. Okay.
Agreed.
Ticky tacking fouls, blowing the whistles every second. If you're allowing them to play up and down and you make up and there's a missed call where you want to go to a challenge, I think it works. Unlike the other sports where it's a little like baseball's a little slow pace, I can see why the
Agreed.
challenges you get one and that and done and all and football too, where
Mhm.
I could see, but NBA could. I think NBA could afford that, like you said, one a quarter, and if you win,
Mhm.
you are a lot. If you're successful, you get that extra one, or even three. You could use two in the second half. You could use them in the quarter, but if you get two in a row, you don't get to use it in the second half. So that
Yeah,
it deters for people from doing a challenge for every little thing, and then you're oh, here we go again. Here's this coach again looking trying to if you're trying to stop a rally or a run
mhm.
by wanting a challenge where they know they're not going to win it, but they just want to stop the challenge and they'll call a
Mhm.
challenge to. You could avoid that. You get two in a row and you're done with your challenges, but you have to be successful with
Mhm.
it. So I kind of they could tinker with it because they really do need that because it's a fast paced game and some of these officials
Right.
let's face it they're older to go running and I know they got to get their cardio running up and down it does wear you out because they don't get no timeouts. They don't get sub. The
Mhm.
players do. The officials don't. So I understand where there's a little bit of a rule where they want to call the whistles. Also, I never thought about this talking about that running back. Maybe they
Mhm.
just call a whistle because they're out of breath and they're just going to call a foul, so they need to catch up. You know,
Right.
I need
Right.
to
Right.
catch up. Let me
Right.
let me call a foul so they go to free throw. So
That's true.
it could be
Very
something else.
possible.
It could be something else.
Possible. And also the
It could be
league
something else.
average scoring is 114 per game. Just in general, 114 per game.
Yeah, yeah, that's that. And it'll be interesting to see with the committee what competition committee what they think of. That's why the tournaments are a big part, which is coming in, especially coming up soon. That we'll have a whole another podcast on about the tournaments on with that the pros and cons of it. But all in all,
Hmm.
just my thing is All Star game. I want to give this message to all the Knicks fans. Please go out and vote. Our Knicks players are
Please,
not getting the love or respect that they deserve to be on
facts.
that All Star ballot.
Take
So
those
we do need
lights.
to go out and vote.
Right.
Yes.
Vote for JR30. Vote for JB11 to make the All Star team. If they don't, if at least one Nick do not make the All Star team or haven't, you know what I'm trying to say. If both Knicks don't make the All Star team,
Yes.
that is disrespectful and wrong. Very disrespectful and wrong. Both teams, both players do not make the All Star game. I hope at least one get in. At least one.
Yeah,
Because
they're
they
well
both earned
deserved.
it.
They're well deserved.
Hmm.
Yes. So, G Money, give us your final thoughts here because we're out of time here and go for it.
It's, it's, it's been a great show. Nice to see you again, Kev. Salute everyone in the chat. Hope everyone stays safe. Happy holidays. Stay healthy. Stay strong. Prayers up to Damar Hamlin. Thank guys. Okay. Prayers up for Damar Hamlin and the Hamlin family for that situation that happened in Cincinnati. Hope he's getting help. I'm glad he's getting healthy and stronger. Just stay safe, everyone. Happy holidays. And you know, just love, care, help each other in a time of need, man. Yeah.
Absolutely with that. And let me one more. I wanted to read here this one. How about a 3 point line violation? 5 seconds for guys who just stay out there all game improves the game. You know what? That's another. I never thought about that. You have the illegal defense 3 second violation underneath the paint. You can't camp
Mhm.
underneath there. But I think that would deter from the zone unless they stay
Mhm.
under. Interesting there. I wanted to bring that up there. But G Money, thank you again for coming on doing the G Money hoop. This is the G Money Notorious G Hoops NBA Hoop Show. We thank you here. And we thank Opus here on the new platform that we're gonna use from time to time here, or hopefully the new home of the BS Sport Jedi Network, Opus. So Opus, thank you Opus for this wonderful stream, for the moving background here with the basketball as well. Then we really appreciate it. We thank that here. So this is a start of a beautiful, beautiful relationship and friendship here with the BS Sport Jedi Network. So you guys have a blessed day. I believe probably the MMA Weekly will be on coming up short, and then the Monday, the Heal the Ring Friday Night SmackDown review. So stay tuned there if you're a wrestling fan. So we'll be for me. Thank you guys. We'll see you next time here. We'll put the intro in a second. And again, enjoy.
You can still go, even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range, cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.